you're joining us today as we get to meet Farmer Abby and, of course, your adorable adopted calves, Peppermint Patty and Lucy. First, this live chat is part of the Adopt a Cow program. More than 40,000 teachers and 1 million students enjoy this program for free every year, thanks to generous supporters like the American Dairy Association Indiana and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. The Adopt a Cow and Discover Dairy programs are free online resources that cover Common Core standards in science, reading, and math, all while using dairy concepts to teach those lessons. If you're interested in learning more and accessing those resources, you can go to discoverdairy.com, and we'll go ahead and put it in the chat for you to have easy access as well. We'd also love for you to join the Adopt a Cow Fund next year. So either if you've enjoyed this program year or you're new to the program and want to check it out next year, starting May 1st, you can register and re-enroll or create a new account and get started. You can do that by going to discoverdairy.com/adopt, ADOPT. Next, as everyone continues to join us live today, you will see that chat feature is enabled. Please feel free to go ahead and use that chat feature. You can comment, you can ask questions all throughout our time together. We do just ask that you keep those questions and comments related to our conversation and make sure they're school appropriate. We are very excited to hear from you, and I know Farmer Abby is excited to answer them. Now, before we jump over to Farmer Abby, let's see who is joining us today. So let's check out that chat and scroll the whole way to the top. And it looks like we had Indiana Digital Learning School fourth graders were one of our first ones joining us today. So hello all and welcome. Good afternoon. We've got some folks from Winslow Elementary School, some folks from Needmore Elementary in Bedford, Indiana, Lafayette Christian School, also from Lafayette. We have, let's see, Linwood Elementary in Indianapolis. Hello and good afternoon, all. A little bit further down, we've got some kindergartners from Wilson Elementary in Jeffersonville, some second graders here in Greenwood. We have some first graders in North Harrison Elementary in Ramsey, Indiana. And down here a little bit further, we have JES kindergartners who are joining us, and we've got some second graders from New Britain. We're super excited to have all of you. So thank you so much for joining, and everyone else that I didn't get a chance to give a shout out to. We see you all. We're excited to have you, and I know Farmer Abby is excited to hear from you too. So with that, I am pleased to introduce you to Farmer Abby. Hey, Farmer Abby, how are you doing today?
Hey, we're doing great. We're actually down here in Kentucky right now. This is so Lucy and Peppermint Patty are behind me, as you guys can see. So they're actually being raised down here at the heifer farm that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get to hang out here with their friends and all that.
Very
Um
cool. Very
yeah,
cool.
so
So, Farmer Abby, we are here in Kentucky, but we'd love to hear a little bit about you and, maybe a little bit about your main farmstead and just kind of give us a little overview of who you guys are.
yeah, so my husband and I, we are third generation on actually his family dairy farm. And one of my jobs here is to educate all of you guys on what dairy means to us. And all that is dairy. So that's kind of my role that I've taken on the farm is just to be your guys' resource in the
Awesome.
dairy world.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, a little bit
Yeah.
about your farm. Remind us how many cows you milk, maybe how many cows you have total, what breeds you have, that kind of thing.
Okay, so we have approximately 1,600 head of cattle, but we are milking about 1,400 head
Wow.
of cattle right now. So all that milk then goes down to DFA. It's sold in to DFA down to Nashville, Tennessee is where ours goes. So all the milk goes
Oh,
south. So if you're in Indiana, more than likely you won't be getting our milk, but you will be getting DFA, and that's what matters.
that's really cool. So your milk goes all the way to Nashville. I mean,
Yes.
hey, everyone in Nashville still gets to enjoy your milk. So I think that works out pretty well.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Awesome. So explain a little bit more, because I'm sure some people maybe aren't familiar with the concept of, raising your heifers somewhere else. So can you just explain maybe the business outlook on why you guys chose to raise your heifers in a different location versus maybe on like the main home farm?
Yeah, so we have so many heifers that are born a year that actually our farm just is just a little too small to even be able to raise them. So we hire somebody to raise our heifers for us. And then that gives us, more space to be able to do everything else that we're needing on the farm, like growing our own food, such as winter
Oh.
wheat and corn. So our land is used, for that purpose of raising the food for the cows.
Very cool. So it's almost like you're specializing in things, right? You guys specialize in the
Yes.
babies and then you bring them back to milk them. But when they're teenagers, someone else that specializes in taking care of them at that age is handling them and helping them grow and giving them what they need. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Gotcha. So we are at our place in Kentucky. When we can see our beautiful girls behind you, we'd love to get an update on how they're doing, get some close-ups, hear about what they're eating or
Yeah.
they're living. So I'll let you take it away and give us an update on how our girls are doing.
All right. Yeah, let's flip this around. Let's actually get to see them. How about that?
That works.
Bear with me.
Aw.
So this one looking right at us, that's Lucy. And then one taking a drink. Yep, that's Peppermint Patty. As you can see, Lucy's definitely got the more of the black on her and Lucy's more the white. Over here
Gotcha.
you can see part of their grain mix that they got while they hung out here. Other than that, they're on what I've talked to some of the students about TMR, which is a mixture of wheat silage and corn silage, some mineral mix, distiller grain, and all that good stuff that keeps them healthy and strong. You'll hear
Wow.
the chickens too.
I was gonna say, I think I heard something in the background, but that's the chickens.
Yeah,
Oh man. So they're eating all kinds of different silages and forages right now. And it sounds like they're not drinking milk anymore. Is that correct?
correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
They've been off milk just probably for about a couple months now.
Gotcha. So they're eating all sorts of good stuff. Now, you mentioned that you guys are raising your own feed and growing your own feed. Is that what they're eating, or are they eating feed that this farm is producing and then your feed is feeding your milk cows?
So they are eating um, the ones that are here at the farm.
Hmm.
And then right now, actually, on our dairy, we are harvesting our winter wheat. So we
Uh-huh.
have Farmer Alex that's actually in the field as we speak, and he is chopping up all that wheatledge into confetti-like pieces. And then it goes into our bunker, and then it'll sit there until we need it.
Interesting. So you raise all your own feed and then you store it and then you feed it as you need it. How much does a cow eat in a day?
Well, we have a as far as pounds and all that, they eat as much as really they want. They are free to eat as much. Um,
Okay.
I'm not,
So
it's
yeah, I mean, you've got Holsteins. I think that means it's about 90 to 100 pounds of feed a day. I think is pretty typical for cows, which that just seems like so much food, but they're big animals, right? What would you consider a
yeah.
full-grown cow to be? How
So
much would she weigh?
full grown cow is going to be approximately 1,300 pounds is
Wow.
by the time we get done. Yeah. So, but these girls right now, they're about 500 pounds each, and they're about 50 inches tall. To give you
Oh my
guys an update on
goodness.
how big they are.
Wow. Over
Yeah,
500 pounds. And how many inches did you say again?
about 50 inches tall.
50 inches tall. So anyone that's been charting their growth all year, you can go ahead and add that to your growth charts. They have been getting so big. Now, and it looks like they've got lots of fresh water, so they have access to water all day. Is that true?
Yes, they have access to water all day long and then their feed as well.
Gotcha. Now we're in a pen with these ladies right now. Is this where they typically live while they're here at the Kentucky farm, or what does their daily life look like here at the
No, so
Kentucky
their
farm?
daily life is actually outside this pen. Let's see
Uh-huh.
if we can get outside for a minute. See if I'm not locked in too much. All right, let's get out here.
All right.
Look at the beautiful sunshine here today.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely a good day for this.
Awesome. So we brought them in
All right.
here just so we could like make sure we could spend time with them today, which I appreciate
Yeah.
that, but thanks for showing us where they normally are.
Yeah. So normally they're out here on pasture, and it
Mhm.
looks like a lot of them are just kind of hanging out and maybe taking a nap. So
Mm-hmm.
they can do pretty much whatever they're wanting right now.
Wow. Oh
Yeah,
my
isn't it
goodness.
beautiful?
It is beautiful, very picturesque. So once we're done, they'll head back out to hang out with their herd mates. When they hang out with their herd mates, will they show any signs of like wanting to play, or do they ever get bullied, or how do cows interact with each other? Because they can't talk. So how do you see cows build friendships or anything like that?
Oh yeah, so they'll interact together, and they love to kind of prance around. I know where they were before, they got all the students got pictures of them all together before they came down here. And Henry, like some of you all know, my son Henry, who's 3,
Hmm.
they would even like to interact with him.
Oh.
And they would run the length of their little area. Wherever
Hmm.
he was, they would run kind of towards him. So they kind of communicate, they kind of rub heads together and they
Oh.
just prance around, and you can tell who's friends. I think these two are pretty good friends.
Right. I was gonna say they seem to be pretty buddy buddy, just hanging out here together. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Farmer Abby, we've got some questions coming in from some teachers and from some students, if you're ready to answer a couple of their questions.
Yes.
Um, so one question from Miss Gines, they're wondering how old is your farm?
That is a good question. So our farm is approximately 45 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Been in the family for a little while then. That's pretty cool.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And then, all right, let's see. Oh, so we can see that our lovely ladies are drinking water and eating here. They were demonstrating that earlier. They're wondering if you know how many gallons of water they drink right now at this age. Any guesses?
I would say, I don't know, would you say about 10? 5 to
Yeah,
10?
I think that sounds about right. Because I know a
Yeah.
grown cow eats about a or drinks about a bathtub full of water, so about 40 gallons. So I would say they're about a quarter away-ish until adulthood. So that would make sense that they'd be drinking
Yeah.
about 10 gallons of water right now a day. Can you imagine trying to drink
That's what
10
we're
gallons of
hoping for.
water? Right. Wow, that's a lot of water.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Another good question. Ooh, this is from Miss Fishburne. They're wondering, how do you get the tags in their ears? And can you talk about that process a little bit?
Oh, yeah. So, if you think of us ladies or guys, if you want to get your ears pierced, right? They have that little machine that they use,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they just kind of it's kind of the same process. They put it up and then they clip them in. So really, if you
Interesting.
imagine, they're just kind of like earrings. So our
Gotcha.
ladies at the farm will have 2, and then any of our boys will have 1. Is how we tell the
Interesting.
difference. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's just kind of like us getting our ears pierced. And so it's the same thing for them. And then they live with their ear tag. What's the point? What's the reason for an ear tag?
The reason for these specific ear tags is the way to look at it is it's kind of like their name. So this is how we track them. This is how we're able to know how old they are. And later on our farm, they'll get an orange tag
Hmm.
that's added. And then that orange tag actually tells us their activity, how much they get up and down. It tells us their body temperature, if they're sick.
Hmm.
In the summertime, they get pretty warm. So then Farmer Alex is getting a lot of text messages saying the cows are warm.
Interesting. Very cool. So it's to help keep track of
Yeah.
them and to help make sure we know who is who, because I'm sure with as many animals as you said, 1,400, 1,200 animals, that's a lot of animals to keep track of. So this way we know who is who, and you as farmers can really manage each one individually and make sure they're all getting the right care that they need. Very cool.
Yeah.
Um, Farmer Abby, any chance we can try and go from the other side of the of that pen, just so that way we can see full scale pictures
Yeah.
of these heifers while we're chatting. So let's see. Another question that came in. So you mentioned you have a lot of milking cows. How many calves does that mean your farm has each year?
Oh, good question. So, we have approximately, I think it's about 1,300.
Wow.
So at any given time, we can have up to 500 calves, um, at our farm.
At a time to
There
take
we
care of,
go.
and a
Yes,
total of
yes,
1,300 born. So obviously that means there's some that aren't being raised on your farm. So you raise all of the heifers, or all
yes,
the heifer calves, and then the bull calves. Can you explain where they go?
yes. So we actually have a neighboring farm that takes all of our bull calves, our steers,
Hmm.
and then they raise them for us. So we still
Gotcha.
raise them just on another farm.
Interesting. And that makes sense
Yeah.
because you all specialize, just like we talked about earlier, that you specialize in the babies and then the milking cows. You specialize specifically in the girls, in the heifers, whereas someone else is going to specialize in raising those bull calves, and making sure they're having a healthy life too. So that's pretty cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see some other questions. We were wondering, this is a couple of folks have asked about this. How did you choose the names Lucy and Peppermint Patty?
Oh, good question. It is one of my favorite questions. So whenever I came to naming them, I had to find two names and I wanted them to kind of go together. And my uh my son's Charlie Brown doll was outside, and that is how we got Lucy and Peppermint Patty.
Aw,
So
very
if you know
cool.
the Peanuts characters, yes.
So it's named after the Peanuts show and the Peanuts characters. Very cute.
Yes.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good question. We've got someone who is curious about how old do cows usually get to? So, like, what's the average age of a cow on your dairy farm?
So the average is probably about 6 to 8 years on our dairy. So
Okay. So it gets
trying to
about
move
six to
it to
eight years
loose.
old. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
So
there
6 to 8 years
she is.
old. And I know Miss Barry, you were wondering how do we convert cow years to human years? So to help put that in perspective, I believe about one cow year is equal to about 10 human years. So 60 to 80 years old, which makes sense. That's pretty typical for humans too. And that also helps make sense with when they have their first calf. Do you want to talk about that a little bit when our two ladies will be old enough to have their first calf and be producing milk?
So these girls will be approximately 2 to 2.5 years old. So they'll
Okay.
come back to the farm in at approximately 18 months old, and then they should be um, pregnant by that time too. So then they'll
Interesting.
stay on our farm before they even calf. So they get back to the farm before then.
Gotcha. All right, so they'll have their first calf around 2 or 2.5 years old, and then that means they are joining that milking herd and they can produce milk on their own. Will they typically have one calf, twins, triplets? What's pretty typical for a dairy cow?
For a dairy cow, we typically have singles.
Okay, just one
So
calf.
yeah, doubles are kind of rare on our farm.
Gotcha. One calf, they will be happy and healthy. And about how often do they have one calf? How long's their gestation period?
9 months. So
9 months.
just like a human mom.
Interesting. So it's about one calf a year then until you give them time to recover from having their calf and then they have their baby recovery time. They just join the milking herd and pretty much do nothing for a while. And then they breed back and then talk to us a little bit about once they get closer to have their baby. What's that time like for them? Do they get any special treatment when they get further along in their pregnancy?
Yeah, so then they'll go into a special barn then, and that's just kind of where they get to hang out and and relax and get to just kind of chill before giving birth.
Interesting. So are they producing milk at that time? And how long is that time period?
Um, so no, they start producing milk after they have their baby.
Hmm.
And then that time frame I think is about 2 months
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
before.
So they take a break for about 2 months where they're on vacation, which is pretty awesome that they get
Yeah.
to take a 2 month vacation in their last 2 months of their pregnancy, and just get to relax and kind of get to do what they're doing right now, right? They just get to do nothing. These two are cracking me up. They're just standing there like,
I know.
Farmer Abby, you're not usually here. We don't know why you're
Yes.
at this farm. They said,
Yes.
we came to visit. We don't know why you're visiting me. Uh,
Right, right. I thought I
uh,
wouldn't get to see you for a little bit. No.
right, right. Yeah, they were just like, we'd like
They
to go
thought they were
back
all
out on
grown
pasture,
up. Yes.
right?
Yes.
We'll tell them we got 8 minutes, so they just got to hang out with us, and they can go back out with their friends. So,
Yes. Just a little bit longer, girls.
hey, we've got another question coming in to us. They were wondering, where'd it go? Sorry, I just lost my question. Oh, they were
That's okay.
wondering why, this is an interesting one. I can try and help this if we need to, but they were asking,
Yeah.
why do cows have four stomachs? Now they said four stomachs, but we know it's four compartments in one stomach. But do you have any idea why or a way to explain that?
I really haven't had that question lately, so if you don't mind helping me through that one. So
Yeah, yeah.
that is a
So
great question, though.
it is a good question. Now I know, Miss Berry, so cows are ruminants, right? So they're very different than us as humans. We only have one stomach and we have certain things that we can digest, and we know there's certain things we cannot. There's certain things we know we don't eat. But ruminants are pretty cool, and because they're ruminant, it means they have four compartments, and that means cows can eat things that humans can't. I don't know if you happen to know what is in their feed at all, but I know there's some farms that have like byproducts. So, specifically at farms near us, where we're based out of in Pennsylvania, we've got Hershey Chocolate Factory near us. And so,
Yes.
farms in the area actually can add the waste product from the Hershey chocolate into the feed. And it's a great way to recycle the feed and give great energy and some sugars and things to the cows. So, I don't know if you guys use any byproducts in your feed at all. Do
We
you know?
do, yes. Yes, it's been a little while since we've gotten any, but whenever we do, it's trying to nibble. Um, anyways, whenever we do, you can tell that we've had Snickers, we have had like Smarties,
Oh,
yeah, all the Milky Ways. So it was just a combination of a bunch of things. I know we've actually had cookies too, um,
interesting.
on our farm. Yeah.
That's cool. And so yeah, and I know if you're in the South, they often have like the citrus pulp left over from making the different orange juices and things like that. And if you're near a brewery, there's a lot of farms that will use brewer's grain, the leftover distillers brewer's grain that they'll put it in the cow feed. So part of being a ruminant animal, they're able to digest those things that otherwise we'd be throwing away into landfills. So these cows are pretty cool upcyclers and turning that what we throw away waste into energy and then ultimately into milk, which I just think is really cool that cows can do that. So, other than the fact that I know they're ruminants, just being a ruminant means you have four compartments in your stomach. So that
Yep. And
just
then
and
you
that
see
helps digest everything.
Lucy's also been chewing her cud too.
Yes. That's right. So, and chewing your cud
Yeah.
is part of being a ruminant, right? They take some big bites, then they swallow it, and then later when they're relaxed, which shows they're relaxed, which is awesome, then they bring it back up and chew it again, and then send it down into the other compartment of their stomach, and so on until it goes the whole way through their body and get all the nutrients out of it. But yeah, she's demonstrating that gum chewing experience, which is called chewing your cud. And that's always a sign that we know they're happy and healthy. How else, Farmer Abby, do you know if your cows are happy and healthy?
Oh, they love to take naps.
Aha.
Yeah. So we'll have them at the farm and they'll just go to we have what's called freestalls at the farm. So freestalls is where the cows can roam the whole length of the barn wherever they want to go. And then they can go back to their stall or their little home
Hmm.
and they can just lay down, chew the cud like we were talking about,
Hmm.
and take as many naps as they want.
Interesting. Now, how do you know as
Yeah.
a farmer if a cow isn't feeling well? What are some signs as you as a farmer can know when they're not feeling well?
So that's where we kind of talked about a little bit ago about those tags, those orange tags that they'll end up getting on our farm. That's a
Hmm.
really good indication, um, because those will tell us their body temperature. So if they're running a fever
Hmm.
or whenever during the milking process, we do a little letdown first before we attach the milkers.
Hmm.
And what that does is, depending on how the milk comes out, that can also be an indication that something might be kind of wrong, and that that
Gotcha.
one might need to go to what we call the caretaker pen. So where they just kind of get to go
They
and
get a
be
little
taken care of.
right. They get some extra love. They probably
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got some team members on your farm who are watching that pen more closely. And I'm sure you
Yes.
work with a veterinarian. Is that true? And they're there to help make sure if anyone does get a little bit more sick than just your average cough, that they're there to help make sure they're staying healthy and giving you the right protocol to follow to help maintain their good care. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. Very much. Our
Awesome.
veterinarian's on call all the time. He does not mind a phone call. That's a good thing.
Right, exactly. And that's to help make sure your girls are healthy at all times. Now you as farmers and your whole family, I'm sure there's things that you can do to make sure that they're, there's basic things you can do that the vet has advised you to, certain easy medications to help with a little bit of a fever or a little bit of maybe running
Peppermint.
manure or something like that. Yeah, she's trying to get out.
Yeah.
Um, but otherwise, you can call on the vet and they can help you out. Absolutely. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So, Farmer Abby, we're going to start wrapping up here. Thank you so much for answering so many of our questions. We've loved spending this time with you. We've talked about what it takes to take care of a cow, and it sounds like you've got a lot going on with all of the animals you guys all do or all have to take care of. I'm sure it's a big team. But I'd love to know just what is your why? Why did you guys decide to be dairy farmers and do what you do every day?
Yeah. So we really want to make sure that we get a very nutritious product to everybody, and that, that fact kind of alone kind of helps out and just continue the family business. And
Hmm.
my why is what I do is getting the right facts out there. That's why I really enjoyed this program and teaching all the kids, what's the facts.
Hmm.
Um, and that's why in June, to do a little plug here, in June
Yeah.
1st, our farm is putting on a Discover Dairy Day at the
Oh,
Dubois County 4-H Fairgrounds.
very
And
cool.
yeah, so that day the public can come to the fairgrounds, they can learn everything um, dairy, along with doing a couple games and trying to make their own butter,
Ooh,
um, make their own chocolate milk. That's another thing. So you'll go through an obstacle course to, in the end, make your own chocolate milk. So you guys can learn where chocolate milk comes from, because it's actually chocolate syrup and milk, right? So,
very
um,
cool.
yeah. So I hope some people can join us that day, June 1st, at the
June
Dubois
1st.
County Fairgrounds from 10 to 2.
Awesome. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds like an awesome opportunity to get to see and meet some of you guys and some farmers in real time and real life. Maybe ask some more questions if you're curious about anything. Farmer Abby, thank you so much for your time here with us today. We've loved getting to see our two girls. They really are just keeping it chill with us today, and they're just relaxed, hanging out, and probably excited to get back out to the pasture and hang out with the rest of their friends. But thank
Yes.
you so much, Farmer Abby, for joining us today and just taking taking the time to answer our questions. We've loved having you as our host farm. And I know everyone else really enjoyed getting to follow along with Peppermint Patty and Lucy.
Yes.
It's been a lot of fun. So thank you so much for your time here with us today. And don't forget, she had mentioned June 1st that you could go and see them and answer some questions and go to their Discover Dairy Day.
Yeah.
Sorry, and
No,
uh,
you're good.
um, get to do some pretty cool things like make butter and chocolate milk and things like that. So, anything else, Farmer Abby, before we tune off today?
No, I just want to thank everybody for all the emails too. You guys have been great all year, and I've enjoyed all of them, and I hope to see you guys next year. That'd be great.
Awesome. Yeah, we would love to see you next year as well. So as a reminder, registration opens May 1st, and registration will be open all summer long, and then we will start the program again in October of the new school year. So we hope to see you then. Take